And suddenly I was like, let me try that again. Hello, my name's Ale. Welcome to this video. I'm gonna bring you along on this story time about a recent health event that I had. I'm gonna tell you what happened, how it affected me physically, psychologically, how I've been coping, and I'm gonna, share with you the positive things that came with this. All right, so let's start. For context, I'm gonna tell you this very brief, very short, very quick medical history so that you're a bit familiar with stuff. I sure scared the shit out of my mother when I was a baby, when I was 3 months old, and I just started bleeding from my nose out of nowhere. I had nosebleed after nosebleed throughout my childhood and teenage years. I had open heart surgery when I was 9. I had a known sequel of pulmonary hypertension since then. And then I got a severe pulmonary hypertension diagnosis in 2012. And then there's a major health event every fucking year, and it's like stability. Who? I don't know.
Die kenne ich nicht.
So what happened was I was just sitting pretty, watching a Q&A panel interview with Jacob Tierney and Rachel Reed. If you know, you know. I was just watching, listening, and suddenly, out of nowhere, I felt like my heart was beating irregularly. And this is familiar to me. I get like maybe at least 1 arrhythmia a day, maybe 3, I don't know, like throughout the day. It's normal for me to suddenly feel like, whoa, like boom, boom, boom. And what I normally do is just like I breathe deeply, and I don't know if it's because I breathe deeply or it's just gonna go away on its own, but usually I take that one deep breath and the arrhythmia is gone. But this time, it felt like, and I was like, and it kept going, and I did it again, and it started beating faster. And I was like, what's going on? Because I also have a medication that makes my heart beat faster sometimes. And it comes with other symptoms, other side effects, like getting all red on the face, or like stomach upset, nausea, diarrhea, whatever. And I was like, maybe it's part of the medication. And I was like, I'm gonna continue watching. I thought, yeah, it's gonna go away on its own. I mean, it got registered on this watch. My heart rate went from like 60 something. Remember, I was just sitting, smiling, relaxed, enjoying myself, watching something that I wanted to watch. I was having a good time. And suddenly, from 60 something, my heart went to like 90 something, 100. It was startling. It was unsettling. Again, I am used to weird shit happening. I'm used to my heart doing stuff sometimes. And I'm like, whatever, we know. But this time it just wouldn't change. It wouldn't go away. I looked in the mirror. I didn't look red. So I was like, is this the medication? Or I was confused, and I was restless because I wanted it to go away. It was really uncomfortable, and I was like, surely it should have passed by now. What do? What am I supposed to do something about this? And I started pacing in my room because just sitting there with that sensation was really uncomfortable. Imagine not doing anything and your heart is like, and there was one time that I remembered relatively recent that I had sudden tachycardia as well. And that time I went upstairs to just walk on the treadmill. And by the time I finished, my heart was beating regularly again. And so this time I was like, I'm gonna go to the treadmill. It was like 8:30 by then. I had been feeling that thing for an hour. I turned it on and I started walking and I was like feeling very heavy and I was like, I don't really want to walk. I don't actually want to do this, but maybe it'll help. So I walked for like 15 minutes. It didn't help. It actually made me feel even worse. And so at dinner, I was in a mood and I told my parents, this happened. I feel like shit. My heart rate is going really fast. I don't know what's going on. And they took my blood pressure and it was low. And I was like, oh, of course, that's what's happening. Suddenly I was like, oh, okay, the weather. There was like some weather today. And so the atmospheric pressure changed. And so this is why I feel this way. So we engaged in the usual protocol for this sort of situation when I get low blood pressure. My parents helped me to get comfortable in my bed with my legs raised. And I was like, sure, like this is it. That's all this is. And I grabbed my iPad and I was like, I'm just gonna watch some comedy show and I'm gonna relax and that's gonna be it. I was there for maybe an hour or two. My heart rate was not coming down. My blood pressure did get better. My mom was texting my cardiologist who was out of town. My dad went to the pharmacy. It was like past 10 p.m. by this point. Went to the pharmacy to buy an oximeter because the cardiologist asked what my saturation level was. And I was like, okay, guys, after a while, I was like, I feel okay enough to be left alone. It's okay. And I was thinking, I'm gonna sleep. This is gonna go away in my sleep. Like my body is going to reset throughout the night and I'm gonna wake up and my heart is gonna be back to normal. That's what I was thinking. Like, surely this is what's gonna happen. It did not. The moment I regained consciousness in the morning and I started feeling that unpleasant like beating in my heart again, and I was like, okay, I'm not okay. I spent all Saturday in bed. My cardiologist told my mom to get me supplementary oxygen, but for one reason or another, we couldn't get my oxygen tank, which I hadn't used in years. It was stored away, so it had to receive some maintenance. We dusted the oxygen concentrator. It had some malfunction, so I couldn't use it, and then we borrowed another one, and the same thing happened. And so I couldn't get my supplementary oxygen that my cardiologist told me that was going to help me. So that weekend, I was just left to cope with these uncomfortable sensations on my own. I mean, in the sense that nothing could be done until I saw my doctor.